welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad that you are here today. We're gonna get right into this video because I'm too excited about this movie, okay? Too excited. From my title, I'm sure you can tell what I'm gonna be talking about, obviously. So let's hop right into this. So for those of you who don't know, the Clark sisters, okay? Let me tell you guys, this is the most celebrated female gospel group ever in history, and they are thebomb.com. I have been waiting for this movie to come out forever. Okay, so it's important to me because growing up in church, being a Christian, their songs are songs that you hear around all the time. Whether someone does a dance to them, sings them, or whatever, these songs are super popular, well known. Whether you're a Christian or not, like they have that influence that whether you were in church or not, you knew their songs. And so I was so excited. I've been waiting since I think summer or spring 2019 for this movie, and finally got to watch it. Now here's the stressor, because it was annoying because I'm Canadian, so sometimes for some reason, I don't know what it is with American television, they feel like we don't watch certain things because it wasn't available, okay? I have Lifetime, okay? It's a Lifetime movie, and I have Lifetime, and I looked on the guide, it's not there. Some random show. Like, what is the show? So I had to hunt, found my hookups, okay, to get the actual, the movie so I can watch it. I waited 80,000 years. You're showing me commercials in my country, and then you're not going to show me the movie? You're annoying. So anyways, I'm happy that I was able to watch the movie, and I watched it more than once because it's so good. And there's so many things that I learned, and so many things that were like, yep, just by being a church kid, like just growing up in church and stuff like that, where I'm like, yeah, that is such a real thing or whatever. So first of all, the Clark sisters, the group, right now has 4 members, okay? So there are 5 sisters in total. Now, I always knew there was a 5th sister. I found this out years ago, and but I didn't really know much about her. Like, I knew that, and so there's Denise, right? So the oldest one is Jackie, then it's Jackie, then Denise, then I believe it's Twinkie, then Dorinda, and then Karen's the last. Yeah, I think that's how it goes. So Jackie is from Maddie Moss Clark's first marriage. So she's not a part of the Clark, I guess, bloodline or whatever. But with Maddie Moss Clark's second marriage, she had the 4 girls. So with Denise is the oldest of the Clark sisters. I didn't know that. I thought she was probably the baby, or maybe like around Karen's age or whatever. And so I knew that Denise got pregnant. Like, I knew that was like a thing. Like, one of the sisters got pregnant and left the group. But in my mind, I figured, because this was church back in the day, okay? So back then, if you had a child out of wedlock, it was like you were like dismembered from the church, like it was a big shebang. And so and there was a lot of shame around it and stuff like that. So when I realized, okay, like, I'm like, oh yeah, she left the group, I figured like the mom's like, okay, like you can't be in the group anymore, you know what I mean? That's what I figured it was. But watching the movie, I realized that Denise was a spicy one, a bit spicy, and she had 3 kids before she left the group. And she left the group, she wasn't kicked out of the group. So I remember I was watching the movie and I was like, okay, like, she's like, yeah, like 7 months, we're gonna have to get bigger dresses. And I'm like, oh shoot, here we go now, here we go, it's gonna be a problem. And her mom's response was like shocking to me, because their mom was so like, she was no nonsense, you know what I mean? But you could tell she was very loving, but she was just still like, she didn't play games. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, how is she gonna react when she hears this about, you know, her daughter being pregnant? And she let her sing still, and she had 2 boys after that. And then it wasn't until they had to sign a new contract when she decided, you know what, I'm not going to be in the group anymore because I want to get away from my mom. Like, her and the mom just did not get along at all. Denise would be out of the house like all wee hours of, you know what? Sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, like looking at it, I'm like, maybe she came in around 12. You know what I mean? But them, it was like, to them, it was like, oh gosh, just, these are late hours, you know? But maybe it was like 12 or like 11. But like, you know, you're supposed to be in the house by like 8. So it's like a big deal. But yeah, so she would come in the house, you know, obviously she's with a guy, and there's a scene where she sees Twinkie and they're talking, whatever. And she was just expressing like, yo, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I don't want to be around or under mom's like thumb for the rest of my life. And I guess for her, she like, you could tell her and Twinkie had a connection, because it's kind of like Twinkie, in my mind, Twinkie wanted to have that like freedom that Denise like boldly had, like just to do whatever she wants. Not that she was doing the right things per se, or being obedient to her mom or respectful to her mom all the time, but she had this like passion to really do what she wanted to do. And I don't think Twinkie had that Twinkie did not have that boldness at the time to do that. So you could see like their bond, whatever, like her trying to encourage, like, yo, do your thing, like whatever makes you happy, like whatever, like do what you gotta do. And then just seeing like her mom's response. So when her mom comes downstairs and realizes she came home after 10,000 hours of being out with Billy Bob and Trey and Carlton, I don't know, I'm making random names. She comes home, the mom and her get into like an argument, she slaps her, whatever. The next morning, just typical, literally no conversation really about it. Like, and it sucks because I find that this is such a common thing in families, between parents especially. Like the parents don't really address certain things. They're just like, okay, you hungry? Like, no, how about we talk about what happened yesterday? Like, how about we talk about how we're gonna move forward and like do better and be better? But this is like the 70s, that was not happening, or 80s, I think. 80s, yeah. So anyways, that was interesting that I found out about Denise, the fact that she was had 3 kids before she chose to leave the group. She was not kicked out of the group. It was pretty interesting. And also what really shocked me was abuse from the dad. So their father was a bishop, and he abused their mom. And I also wondered too, because everyone would always talk about Maddie Moss Clark and her being so like bold and so strong and stuff. And I'm like, how does she manage to do that in that time? Like in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, like being a woman in the church, a bishop's wife, like you better zip your lip. Like that's the tone that it was then. Like women were not respected in that way. So like sometimes I wonder, like, how did she get that position, or how was she so bold or so strong if that was the environment then. Anyways, he hated her ambition, couldn't handle it, and would beat her. And so that was interesting to see, because I never really heard anything about their dad ever. Like I knew their dad was like obviously in the church, but I didn't know like were they married. Like you didn't hear anything. You don't ever hear them talk about their dad. So that was interesting too, to see that, and to see how like that's just traumatizing. Like it's like they knew what to do. And the way Jackie reacted when she ran up the stairs, because she had a little date. Jackie's the older one. She had a little date. She came back inside, she heard like what was going on, and she ran upstairs. Like she knew like this is like a routine, like this is a thing that happens. And then it sucks because I'm sure for Maddie Moss Clark, that is embarrassing. You're supposed to be strong and bold, and everyone in your family, your children, your church family, to see you as a strong, confident lady, and they don't know behind closed doors you are being beaten and belittled by your husband, who's also, you know, supposed to be, you know, a man of God. So that was really interesting. There's so many funny parts, like just being like a church kid. Like it was hilarious when I saw her so Jackie came from work. Jackie's the oldest daughter, so she's from the first marriage. So she came from work, and she had like her work pants on, and the mom closed the door in her face, like zoom boom, like you're not coming in my house wearing pants. For some of you guys probably like, what do you mean? But like then you were not allowed to wear pants not even in the house. Like, what are you doing? Go put on your nightie, go put on a dress. You were not wearing that because it was seen then as unholy and things like that. So that was hilarious to me, because it made me think about like just older women that I know. Well, they wouldn't react that way, but like that's just how they view it, right? So that was so funny. it was interesting to see though, like how I love this movie for so many reasons. It like has so their characters have so many layers. Like you can tell that everyone has a story. It doesn't glorify anyone. It shows everyone's weaknesses, everyone's faults. Like it was, I think it was really, really well done and very raw. And I like the fact that they focused on like the mental health aspect, and like even showing how Dorinda, so after the mom ends up passing, then Twinkie has a nervous breakdown, and then I think it was Karen after that had the was in a coma. I think she was having like a surgery or whatever, and then Dorinda was like, I am done, and she was ready to commit suicide. And just seeing her cry out, and the thing is, Dorinda throughout the movie seems strong and bold, just like her mom, but like you can tell there was an internal battle with her the entire time. And because she probably felt like, I had to be strong, I have to be the strong one, I gotta be, keeping everyone in line, I can't talk about my weakness or talk about what I'm going through. And seeing her wanting to make that decision, and then seeing how she was restored and didn't end up doing it was so refreshing. But the fact that it's a real thing. It's a real thing, okay? And whether you're Christian or not, saved or not, we all have struggles. We all have struggles. And I always tell people, like, the difference between a Christian and non-Christian is, like, when I'm going through something, I have an outlet. I have a God who can hold me, take care of me, and he's available to you too. Hold me, take care of me, help me through, and a church family that supports. But we all go through the same stuff. And for some reason, we feel like people, especially in the church, we feel like Christians or our artists, musicians, whatever, they don't go through anything. Pastors don't go through anything. It's like that's how we feel. Or they have no right to, or they can't have a human response to stuff, or they can't battle or feel weak, or it's just a very, very real thing. You saw that with Dorinda, you saw that with even Karen wanting to, change her body and the way she looked. You saw that with Twinkie, and her having the nervous breakdown. And the thing is, these ladies never stop what they're doing. And that's another thing too. You also feel like you can't stop. But you feel like if you stop, then you're weak, or you're giving in, or whatever the case is. They did not stop singing at all. Dealing with all of this. You know what I mean? How heavy could that be? You know what I mean? Going through all those changes in life. Your family shifting every second, and you can't even take a moment just to like breathe. That's overwhelming. So that was interesting to see. I really liked how they pointed that out. And another part, like Twinkie's life, I feel like I can connect with her so much, because it's like Twinkie is a people pleaser, and I'm a people pleaser. I have an issue with that. Pray for me. Okay. She's a people pleaser, and she really just wanted to make sure everything was okay and wanted to please her mom, but she did not know how to live. And it was frustrating for me because it's like, Twinkie in the movie, you'll see she makes dumb decisions. Her marriage to that guy was dumb. How are you? This is my thing. In the scene when she's leaving to go, Twinkie's leaving to go with her husband, like there's like a little tussle between Twinkie and her mom. Like, don't go, I'm gonna go, whatever. Her husband pushes the mom. So you're just gonna still go with him, Twinkie? Is that what you're... But the fact that she still went with this guy, seeing how he just pushed her mom to the ground, it just shows how guarded and how sheltered and how naive she is. If he's going to push your mother down, what is he gonna do to you? The fact that he has the audacity to even raise his voice to your mom, what is he gonna, like? And she still went like, okay, come on, babe, like, let's go. Like, it was just like, wow, like, that's so sad. This girl does not have any, like, real, lack of a better word, like, sense. Like, she doesn't know anything. And the reason is because she was always with her mom. Like, always with her mom, always doing what her mom told her to do. Like, not able to live her life, like Denise was saying, like, what do you want? What are your desires? You know, what are you passionate about? I don't think she ended up going to school. She got an offer to go to Howard. She didn't end up going. Like, it's just all this stuff. And I'm like, yo, because she had to follow her mom, play the organ, all that stuff. Like, it was literally just so like just sad. And then the mom would get mad at her for making dumb choices, but it's like, okay, but how do you expect her to make good choices when you're always in her back? Like, she doesn't have an opportunity to spread her wings, make a mistake, figure things out. What is Twinkie like? What is Twinkie not like? Like, she doesn't, you know what I mean? And then even her feeling like, you know, I think how I relate to her the most is when I saw this scene where she's telling everyone like, yeah, I'm gonna get married and this and this and this, and everyone's like, hey, like, and she's like, can someone be happy for me? Like, someone just, come on, like, be happy for me. And even though the guy was an idiot, like, I still understand the fact of just wanting people to, like, big her up and love on her and her to have her moment. All her sisters were married and have kids and stuff like that. She's like, yo, can someone out of my family just give me a high five, pat on the back, something? Like, nothing, you know? So I felt so bad for her in that scene. I felt really, really bad for her. And then also when her saying like she's not knowing what God's will for her life is or her mom's will. She doesn't know the difference. She doesn't know the difference, Maddie, because you are always with her and she's always with you. So she doesn't know how to hear the voice of God. She doesn't know how to hear his direction for her life or what he wants to do in her life because you're always around her. So she doesn't know for herself. There's no space to do that, you know? So that was super interesting. And then, like I mentioned before, Denise left, right? So Denise left the group. And the fact that Denise left the group and they did not speak until like the funeral, I'm like, yo, this isn't healthy. You know what I mean? She did not speak to them after the funeral, or they didn't speak to her. And it was just interesting. They're like, during this, like, oh, you're so hard to love. And she's like, you're my sisters, but you're never hard to love. I was like, oh my gosh, like, they're never talking again. And they didn't. And then they had this big like blowout at the funeral, which was like just so sad. I'm like, oh my goodness. And it was sad because it's like she wanted to go in the car with them after the funeral, and it was like, okay, like, why can't I go with you guys? They're like, no, go in the other car, whatever. And she's like, I'm her child too, like, I matter too. And like, I feel like there's just so many things that should have been said that were not said. And I feel like also it goes to show, like, back then, and sometimes even still now, conversations that should be had within families don't happen. And so there's 10,000 years of no one talking, dealing with stuff, figuring things out, cleaning things up, and then you have issues like that, and people are hurting and bitter for years from things that happened in the 80s. The mom died in, I think, 94. I think Denise left the group, was it like 83, 85? That's years. She came back to the funeral with 7 children. She left the group with 3 and came back with 7 children. And there's no conversation. 10 years have passed and nothing. Like, it was just like, yo, this is real. This is a real thing. And even now, they don't really communicate like that. And that sucks. It really, really does suck. But like, it just shows that it was well done. Like, it was a well done movie. It made me a little bit frustrated, and I was laughing because I saw a review by Kim on Stage, and it's true. Maddie Moss Clark. So the girls got onto the Grammys. Okay, that was really cool, and I've seen that performance before the movie and stuff. And the girls got onto the Grammys, and their mom, they're like, oh yeah, mom, perform with us. Like, this is a big thing, because their mom has been doing music for years before them. And they're like, yeah, mom, come, like, do it, whatever. She goes to do it with them. Then she gets called in to meet with like the board of bishops, and has to go and like explain and apologize for being on the Grammys. Now, what Kevin on Stage just said, how do you know I was on the Grammys? How do you know? Unless you were watching it, how would you know? And if it's not appropriate for me to be on there, then you should be watching it, Mr. Bishop there, you know? And they were on her about this, about being on the Grammys, that you couldn't sing with her daughters that way anymore, all this stuff. So that was super sad. And like, I knew, you can tell, like, that back then, like, being a woman in her position and the culture of the church at the time, like, you better like if they see you're getting too amped, they're gonna find a way to humble you. And them using scripture to manipulate her, it was just like so annoying. Scripture is beautiful, and when it's used correctly and in the right context, and not to manipulate or put people down, it's meant to edify. And they were literally just like, yeah, obedience is better than sacrifice. Like, how is she being like, what are you saying? Like, how is she's on the Grammy singing a gospel song? That's where she needs to be. Were you understand? Just only in church? She's spreading the gospel. She's doing what she's supposed to do. And you guys are upset. You guys should be bigging her up. Like, wow, Maddie, you go, girl. Thanks. Do another one. Try and get the Grammys next year. But they said, no, don't even sing ever again with your daughters. What? That makes no sense. And then I remember I was watching an interview with the sisters, and they were saying, like, yeah, some of the bishops were mad that their stuff was on the radio, and that they only wanted Christians to buy their albums. It's like, guys, that doesn't make any sense. That's not the point of a Christian life. The point of Christian life is to draw others in and spread the good news and let people know about the love of Christ, not keep it to your own little circle. That makes no sense. That's not even how Christ did things. And so it just shows like how man can get in the way sometimes of what God is trying to do. Yeah, so it was a really, really great movie. The singing obviously was amazing. The acting was on point. It was amazing, absolutely well done. You guys have to watch it. So if you have not watched it, get on it, okay? The Clark sisters movie was wonderful. All the actors, the storyline, and it was not a cookie cutter happy ending. It's just because their story is still going, right? Because they're all still alive. You know what I mean? Only the mother has passed, and all the siblings are still alive. And their story is still continuing. So I like the fact that it's not like, well, yeah, we're all together again. It's no, because they're not. They're not. I have not really seen Twinkie on any press right now as of late. I only see Dorinda, Jackie, and Karen. So yeah, I mean, it's and they still don't talk to Denise like that. Like, it's still a work in progress, but I like the fact that they got to show their story, show the things they had to overcome, and things they had to go through as young women, as Christian women. It was just such a refreshing movie to watch. It was so good. From the acting, the musical numbers, the storyline, the fact that it was accurate, the fact that they're all involved in the story makes it better, because then you know you're getting the real deal. So yeah, so if you guys haven't watched it, please go and watch it. Thank you for tuning in to this review of the Clark Sisters movie. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like, comment, subscribe, share this video, and hit the notification bell down below or top. I don't know where it's positioned, but yeah, hit the notification bell for my next video post. And thank you so much. Love you all.